Web services are special components that make your C# methods available on the Internet in a standardized way. Because web services all work to the same standard, they can be used by any program, even programs written in an entirely different programming language. Web services are one of the key components of AJAX, as they allow the JavaScript code on your web pages to interact with the C# code on your web server. To begin this lesson, open the StableBase project from your Sample Files folder. Now add a new web service to the project by right-clicking StableBase in the Solution Explorer and clicking Add New Item. Then click Web in the left-hand pane if it isn't selected already. Then scroll down in the central pane and click Web Service. In the name box, type newsservice.asmx and click Add. Your new web service is created and opened. A web service is simply a class that extends the system.web.services.webService class. This web service already contains a method named Hello World. Test your web service by right-clicking newsservice.asmx in the Solution Explorer and clicking View in Browser from the shortcut menu. A page appears showing a summary of your web service. Now click the Hello World link at the top of the page. A summary of the Hello World method is displayed. Click the Invoke button to run the Hello World method. A new browser tab is opened showing the XML code that was generated by the web service. This XML code conforms to the SOAP standard. Web services expose their interface and return information using the SOAP protocol. SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. All web services use the SOAP standard, so every web service transmits information in the same way. ASP.NET web services are also able to return information in both XML and JSON format. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. When using SOAP to implement AJAX, JSON is a better alternative to XML, and has largely replaced it because it is simpler to use with JavaScript. You will learn more about JSON later in this session. Note that JSON information is still transmitted using the SOAP protocol in exactly the same way as the XML code that you can see here. Any SOAP-compliant program that calls the Hello World web method will be able to read this XML code and determine that the method returned a string with the value Hello World. Close your web browser now. Next, you're going to add a new method to your web service that will extract news items from the project's database. Add the following code to the News Service class. Web method public string array get news using StableBase data context data equals new StableBase data context return data.news.select news lambda news.newsText .toArray. This method retrieves all records from the news table in the project's database, allowing them to be accessed via the web service. It's important to note that you must always prefix web service methods with web method in order for them to be available as part of the web service. Because web methods need to be accessible to any programming language, they can't use any of ASP.NET's advanced classes as arguments or return values. All major programming languages are compatible with basic variable types such as int and string, so these can be used freely. Web methods are able to make use of arrays, but not list objects or other advanced collection types. It's for this reason that you've used a string array in your getNews method. These limitations only apply to the arguments and return values of web methods. You can still use any C# code within the methods themselves. Before ending this lesson, build the project. To do this, click Build, Build Stablebase. You must build the project in order to use your web service in the next lesson. You learned about building projects in Lesson 1.4. Close your web browser now, and you've now completed Lesson 9.1, Create a Web Service.